I was in that role for many years in
No way.
big pharma. Yeah.
What did you do, Martin?
At the moment, I help people and teams be at their very best without burning out. Be at the best every day, in fact, without burning out. And that comes from too many years in corporate pharma, in sales, marketing, and then internal comms.
Oh, fantastic. We should connect afterwards.
Yeah, my first internal comms role was for the infamous Year 2000 project,
Wow.
which you're all too young to even know about. But the computer clocks weren't going to work and the planes were going to fall out of the sky, but we stopped it. So that was great.
Just noticed Bridie there. Great to have you with us, Bridie.
Thank you. Strangely, used to live around the corner of the Duchess pub in Poundbury.
Oh, look at that.
Fellow Dorset person here, now in Devon.
Bringing it home today.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so we'll get kicking off. I've got to go into this screen share. Hopefully you can all see that. Thumbs up if you can see the screen share.
Yeah.
This is the very start of my cycle of weekly masterclasses. We've got about 12 weeks to Christmas. I'm doing a 10-week masterclass this quarter. So cropping a few, I think Tuesday the 19th of December. I'm going to skip that one and the last one, and then we'll kick off again in January. So we're rolling this right back to the start. Today's week one. We're looking at how to find prospects for free, techniques to identify and target high-value prospects without any financial investment other than your time. So as the way these masterclasses work, they're very interactive. Obviously, this is going live on LinkedIn, live on YouTube as well. So there might be a few people there wondering how they can get in on the Zoom action. So if you head over to my website, it's leadith.io/masterclass. That will take you to a registration page and you'll get all the emails and you'll be kept up to date with kind of what's going on. There's also an opportunity to join a community where you can, chat with other people about LinkedIn, lead generation, all that sort of stuff. That's where we live. I'll go into that a little bit later on. But today on the agenda, let's have a look what we've got. So I'll do a quick intro. We're then going to look into 4 kind of techniques where you can basically find prospects for free. LinkedIn basic searches, LinkedIn groups, LinkedIn events. We'll also look at another kind of option, which is Apollo email marketing. And if there's time, we'll run into some bonus things that I've been doing with email marketing. I'd love to show you the Leadith platform as well, which is a tool that automates this whole process for you as well. So a bit of information. Welcome again to the masterclass. Focusing on, 4 techniques to help you to get started and start to generate leads. Whether you're looking to increase your influence or just generate more leads for your business, build your personal brand, whatever your kind of goal is. Hopefully we've got some key takeaways this morning to help you kind of build on those connections within LinkedIn and also increase your reach with the world's largest social networking platform, professional networking platform. We're going to cover everything from in the masterclass series, from things like optimizing your profile, automation, delegating LinkedIn lead gen. There's one on blogs and newsletters, video engagement, a whole host of different subject topics. And hopefully you've received the email with an outline of what we're doing over the next 10 weeks. So let's get started. Who am I? So I'm your host, Alex Smith. From time to time, I'll have a guest in some of the sessions, but you'll get an email when I invite a guest along. Previously, we've had AI experts in, and we've had content marketing specialists in, and other people like that. So basically, I run a LinkedIn lead generation software. Part of that is a bundled accelerator program that helps and supports you in building out automated campaigns on LinkedIn. Ultimately, I'm just trying to help small business owners to achieve their sales goals through automating this whole minefield of connecting with people and automating processes. One of the cornerstone bits of learning is understanding marketing methodologies, and this is the classic marketing model. It's a basic funnel which describes the customer journey from that very first touch point to the purchase and beyond. And it's called a funnel because, as you can see, the number of potential customers decreases at each stage, just like liquid flowing through a funnel. Now, the stages of the funnel are awareness, and that's when your prospect becomes aware of your brand or product. And obviously, LinkedIn is a great platform for you to kind of shout about what you're doing and build that awareness. The next stage is interest, and that's when they're starting to learn a little bit more about you, and then they go into this consider stage where they're weighing up their options, comparing you against maybe competitors and other people. And then they move down into this purchase stage when they make that decision to buy from you, and then they become a loyal customer, and that's when you're retaining them. Now, the modern version of that is called the flywheel model, and this is a newer marketing model that emphasizes on the ongoing customer relationship rather than just that initial sale. It's called a flywheel because, like in a machine, it gains momentum, and this grows over time as you attract those new customers. You'll engage with them and interact with them, build up that relationship, which is what we're doing on LinkedIn, delight them with a great experience, and then they become advocates and they become loyal fans and spread the word about your brand. And that helps to attract more people into the circle. So this is the roadmap with Leadith. So we're helping companies who may be struggling to get sales on LinkedIn, moving them up through 6 stages so they have more sales and more time on their hands so they can do fun things that they want to be doing. Stage 1 is all about identifying the target audience. Okay, and all our masterclasses for the first 6 weeks will kind of mirror these stages. Second week, next week, we'll look at personalizing making your LinkedIn personal profile a bit of a hero, what we can do to make sure your personal profile is speaking to your target audience, and polishing that up. And then we'll look at LinkedIn outreach automation, some of the campaign types that we can do to kind of automate this whole process of connecting with people, following up. The natural kind of stage after the LinkedIn is an email conversation, and we've got systems in place that can send out automated emails on the back of a LinkedIn connection. You can do all this manually if you've got the right tools, and I'm going to share with you some of the manual tools that I've used in the past before I developed the Leadith system, which is a very automated approach. Video content marketing is bit of a kind of oddball on its own up there, but it's basically having a content strategy. So outreach is one thing, but having inbound leads and to attract those inbound leads, you've got to be putting a bit of content out there on the LinkedIn platform, and that helps with the whole algorithm to make sure you're contributing to the platform as well. Step 6 is all about having a CRM, an appointment system, systems in place to capture all those leads that are coming back to you and making sure you can then nudge those leads to the next step in that journey, whatever it is. So let's kick off with a bit of a stat. Some of you will know this. LinkedIn launched back in 2003. So it's actually 20 years old this year, I think back in March. There's over 875 million users on LinkedIn. And it's actually represented in over 200 countries and regions. So a fantastic opportunity. Certainly if your focus is B2B, LinkedIn is where it's at, and that's where you need to be. So let's look at LinkedIn. Hopefully you're all familiar with LinkedIn. Should we have a quick round the room just to see where people are at in terms of LinkedIn, how long they've been using it, what they're doing on LinkedIn? Tony, do you want to just kick us off? What's your experience of LinkedIn so far?
Yes, so I do LinkedIn. I do use LinkedIn. I do see it as important. I see it as kind of place where we do our business. It is a very important shop window for us. I would say we get a small amount of work from it, but it's kind of, even though we don't get an awful lot of revenue from it, it's just an important, like what you might call a confirmer. It makes people confident that we know what we're doing. I think we get a lot of our work from other places, but I think if we weren't on LinkedIn and we weren't talking about stuff and weren't demonstrating our expertise, it would look a little odd. Great.
Excellent. How about you, Julie? You're next on the screen. Are you, I'm pretty sure you're actively using it.
Yeah. Similar to Tony, really. Not everything comes from LinkedIn, but more and more inquiries are coming from LinkedIn just to have a conversation. But if I wasn't doing the content, then I wouldn't be getting anything. But it's the follow up and I'm doing a bit of automation, but it's so important. And as you know, Alex, we've talked about how do you manage that follow up. So, that's the fortune is in that follow up, I think.
Yep. Now, Martin, I know you're actively using the Leadith platform to connect with people, and
I'm trying to. We need to talk. But on LinkedIn, I've been there for, I don't know, so many times. so many years now. Followed a guy called Adam Houlihan and sort of optimized the profile and all sorts of things like that. Put posts out, just started a newsletter, been doing some LinkedIn Live, and to date haven't had a single inquiry to say, hey, we'd like to work with you. So I'm looking forward to that next step.
Yeah, it is very much a bit like SEO. It's a long game plan with it. It's not overnight. It's building relationships.
And it hasn't been overnight, but yeah. Let's move it to the next level.
Yeah. Bridie, how have you found LinkedIn?
Hi. Yes, love it and hate it. I find it really good. I've just gone through a big pivot and so updated my profile. And I've had 3 leads in the last 2 days since doing that last week, which blew my mind. They've come to me from putting the hashtags in the bio and everything, and it works. It's amazing. So I now love it and want to do more and just keep that ball rolling.
That's great. So it sounds like a bit of a content strategy paying off for you in terms of putting stuff out there.
I haven't put anything out there. Just updated
the profile,
the hashtags,
just the organic,
and followed the right people.
Organic things that people are coming to you. That's really good.
Yeah.
Someone else has joined. Faddy. Faddy, do you want to share your experiences of LinkedIn so far? Yep. We can see you now.
Give me some time. I just joined them.
Morning. We were just going through. Everybody was introducing themselves and just explaining their background with LinkedIn, what they've been up to with it recently. Are you proactively using LinkedIn?
Yes, of course. I'm using mainly for lead generation, and I'm stuck with some lead generation for high ticket sales.
Yep, your audio is a little bit quiet for me. So it was difficult to hear that.
Can you hear me now?
It's still a bit quiet. I don't know if anyone else is struggling.
Okay.
Yeah, we're all struggling.
Now I'm doing how to use my LinkedIn profile for converting high ticket. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think you might need to go into your Zoom settings, Faddy, and just increase the microphone level, possibly.
You carry on. Actually,
Sure. Okay. So great. So I'm glad that everybody's kind of putting LinkedIn to use and doing quite a bit with it already. So in terms of some of you, probably this is basic stuff, but some of you, this might be really helpful. So thinking about your target market and the types of people we want to find. I've only got a free version of LinkedIn, so anyone can do this if they've got a free version. But this search box up the top here is gold. I mean, this is what we use to really kind of hone in and find a specific person. So maybe Bridie, for example, who would be like a perfect client for you? What would their job title be? Or are there any keywords that you might think might be relevant?
Yeah, so Femtech Startup is what I'm using at the moment to find people.
Sorry, what tech?
Femtech, FEMTEC.
So that's a new one on me.
Femtech, it's women's health innovation, entrepreneurship for women's health and well-being.
So that's quite a niche focus. But what we can do is we can search for that as a keyword.
Mm-hmm.
And think about any other similar words like describing it, maybe women's tech or women's health tech or something like that.
Comes up, gamification comes up.
Yeah. So those are other things that we can do. And with those other keywords, I would just go and then put in, if it's a longer tail, women's health tech. If that was a string, I could try something like that. By putting it in the quotes, it's then going to find the whole word rather than just people that have got woman in their profile or health or tech. Female health tech might be another one that we could put in there. So we're looking for people buy from people. That's the key. We need to make sure we're going to find people. If you want a company approach, obviously you can try and find who's in that business, and it's a kind of a long-winded way of doing it, but I tend to just go straight for a people search. So within our connections, we can then identify, we've obviously got degrees, how close we're connected to people. So first degree is someone already in your network, they're already seeing your content, your posts. Second degree is there's one mutual connection at least. So that's always kind of like your low hanging fruit, going in for those people who you've got a mutual connection with already. And then your third degree are the kind of the people that are way out. So you're not yet in their circle. So it takes a bit of time to kind of build up that second degree network. As they become first degree, then you can tap into the third degree network. From a safety point of view, I always recommend people to target just second degree connections, much safer. But if the opportunity is quite small or quite niche, I mean, for me, I've got 903 results in total. Only 7 of those results are actually relevant to me. It could be because I'm not a woman, and it could be because I'm just not connected with the right sorts of people in this audience. But certainly a few further people away, if I include the third degree connections, then it goes up to 900 results, which is, if these are all relevant people, and you know what your conversion rates are in terms of how many people you need to speak to before somebody says yes, it gives you an idea of the opportunity that exists on LinkedIn. Does that help at all?
Big time. And what sort of, well, I suppose it depends on the conversion rates, doesn't it? I'll park my question. I'm sure it'll get
That's fine.
answered later.
We can come back to that.
Yeah,
if you've got any, feel free to pipe off if you've got any specific questions. So the first stage is we need to build a relationship with these guys, and we need to connect with them. And often for a lot of people, the opportunity is a lot bigger. There's several thousands of results here. If you were just looking for maybe business owners in a specific industry or sector, the opportunity could be quite big. And as you grow your network, so, I'm currently at about 10,000 first degree connections. It just means there's a lot more second degrees out there for me to tap into now. So LinkedIn is letting you connect to a maximum of 100 second degree connections every week. So if you boil that down, that's about 20 a day. If you're doing it 5 days a week, that's about 20 connections every single day. And when we say a connection request, the easiest way to do that is click on connect, and you can click send, and that will send an empty connection request to that person, Katie. So what I can also do is personalize the connection request. So when we personalize it, we can add, it's actually, this character count does say 300 here, but I've got a funny feeling last week it dropped down to 200. We noticed a lot of issues. So with the message, just keep it super short, super simple, why it is you've identified them, and why you'd like to connect with them. We don't need to sell them. We don't need to sales pitch on this initial connection message. We're just bumping into people and want to be a part of their circle. So, hey, I noticed your LinkedIn profile recently, or such and such, searching for femtech leaders or femtech founders. I thought it'd be great if we connected. Super short, super simple. Now I've actually got a Chrome plugin which I use called Magical. It's basically a tool that you can use to write templates to people. So if I was doing this manually and I didn't have an automated system to do it for me, this is the next best thing. So what I would do is I'd right click on this one, go open in a new tab. And the reason I'd open it in a new tab is so I still have the full list and I know where I'm at on the full list. So this now opens Katie's profile. So automatically now that's going to log as me viewing her profile. So that gives me exposure, because Katie will see on her feed that, hey, Alex has viewed your LinkedIn profile, and she'll see, hey, what am I about? I probably should do a more relevant example for myself, but for this one, that's what I would do. And then to connect to the person, we're hitting that connect button, and then we can see add a note. We can see the little magical plugin there. So that's triggered by 2 forward slashes. And then it comes up, what do you want to send to the person? I can choose an invite, which I've pre-written. So there's a classic invite. I can detect the first name, Katie, and the company name. It's not detected, but I'll just put Women's Health or whatever her company name was, insert. So I've inserted that. That populates it straight away in a message. That typically would take me, 2 or 3 minutes to write that. But if I've got a template, boom, I've got this template ready to go. I can easily do 20 of these in a day. Probably take me about probably less than half an hour to start inviting all those, that first list of 20 people. boom, click send, that goes off to her. Then we have to wait. Some people are pretty quick at responding on LinkedIn. Some people take several hours. Some people take, several weeks. They're not very active on LinkedIn. So all depends on how soon they come back to us. But the next step would be to then start engaging in a conversation with Katie to kind of start sowing the seeds of what I'm about and what she's about, seeing if she wants to have a 15-minute chat about, how we might be working together, or, build out that partnership. So that's the idea, that's the concept, the basic concept. The trouble is, as you can see, I've got a list here of lots of people. It's not very easy to export this list to a spreadsheet, so it's very tricky to start to kind of manage this process on automation if you're looking to scale. So that's where we've got a software solution that really helps with all of that. And if you want to learn a bit more about that, I invite you to the school community and to a strategy session where I'll happily demo a really great product that does it for you. The next thing on from finding people from a basic search is what we call...
Alex, can I just ask you a very quick question?
Go for it, Tony.
I think you said you could do 100 without the message. How many can you do with the message?
So it's exactly the same. So it's 100 connection requests per week. Yeah. And then LinkedIn will say you've exceeded your amount. And it doesn't matter whether you've got Sales Navigator or Premium. Even if you pay LinkedIn 80 quid a month, you're still limited by that 100 regardless. Okay. You can send a normal DM. You can send as many as you like, normal DMs, once they're connected. So once they're a first degree connection, you can you keep going, which is great. So the strategy is to build out your connections on LinkedIn, build out that first degree network of your ideal target clients and the people that you want to be connected to. Once you've got them in your network, boom, it's sending a first degree message to all those specific people. And we just change the search in LinkedIn from second degree to maybe first degree. Obviously, with basic search, you can do a country specific search. So if you're only looking to work with people in the UK, that will narrow down your results. Yeah, but it's obviously potentially a growing industry, this one. So you would be a bit of a pioneer if you started to get yourself connected to all these people, and you'd be kind of at the forefront. I'm surprised kind of a tech industry like that, and people are not kind of visible yet on LinkedIn, or they're just not aware of it. It could just be it's just too new.
It's only 2 years old.
2 years old. Yeah, exactly.
2 years old.
Such a new industry.
20 billion pounds worth.
Yeah.
Sorry,
but you could be the pioneer of that industry, and the absolute industry authority of the industry if you wanted to be by keeping a consistent approach on LinkedIn.
Brilliant, thank you.
The next thing we're looking at is group searches. So when it comes to building a targeted network, connecting with that right audience is the crucial part. So you want to start to engage with people in the network that are aligned with your niche and can help you grow the business. So who are the right people to connect with? So once we've identified the target customer or ideal client and those specific industries, we can understand, what's their pain point and what are the solutions that we're going to provide them with. And once you've got a clear picture of that overall strategy, that's going to help you start to search for the right sorts of people going forward in the most relevant industry. So the group searches works a little bit differently. So let's just head over to LinkedIn again. Hi, Fadi.
Sorry.
That's all right. So we've got the group searches works a little bit different. Now, I'm not going to use the Femtech example because I'm pretty sure, there's no results found. So there's a great opportunity for you, Bridie. There's no Femtech's not even mentioned in any groups that I can see here. If I just put Femtech, there's a couple of groups. So there's 8 groups, very niche, very niche. The biggest one in here is called Femtech Networking, 798 members. So the majority of those are probably the guys that are that came up on the basic search. Now, the group connection strategy works a little bit differently. So you basically join the group or create your own group. Creating your own group is really good because it gives you a bit of control as well. So you might want to do a spin-off UK group and just have a UK Femtech people. But are you a part of this group at all, Bridie, or no? So get yourself, become a member of that group. So for me, I've got, I just searched for Dorset because I'm local. There's a couple of groups here, business events in Dorset and Hampshire. It's a group that I'm a member of. so I can show you kind of what it looks like. But basically, you'll have admins in the group. These guys run networking events, but they've also set up this group. There's 1,654 members, mainly local business owners. And for quite a few of my campaigns, local business has been what I've been trying to connect with. So for me, I can now see all these members. I click show all because I'm a member of this group, and I can see a big long list of all the people, second degrees, first degrees. Some might even be a third degree, but these are all the prospects within this group. Now, with the group strategy, we don't have that same connection message. So we kind of bypass that. And what it allows us to do is just kind of work down this list. You could probably do a lot more than your 20 a day, but basically you can send a direct message without connecting to them. So on that approach, I would say, hey, I noticed you're also in the business events in Dorset and Hampshire group, blah, blah, blah. How are you finding business at the moment, or whatever? Asking a really good question helps to gauge responses. So that's the group strategy. Again, a very manual process. It takes a lot of time. If you want to see an automated way of doing that, tune in next week or in some of the other episodes, because we're actually going to show you a solution that's basically does this for you whilst you're in bed, goes out and connects to people day and night. And that's the power of automation. It's scale and yeah. That's a group strategy. So think about your groups, keywords, think about starting a group if there are no groups in that space. Definitely worth looking at that. The next type of place where you can find prospects for free is events. So linkedin.com/events will give you a list of some of these are face-to-face events, but a lot of these events are actually virtual events that you can turn up via Zoom, very similar to this. So events are broken up into two different types. You've got basically audio events, and they're a bit like Clubhouse or some of those audio only platforms that we used to have years ago, where people can raise a hand and speak as part of it. So if you've got a podcast or something like that, works really well for podcasting. I've got my masterclasses, and they're live events that I'm pushing out to LinkedIn. Now, you can see other events that other people are doing, but you can also do a search. So if I've got, I'm not going to use the Femtech, so I don't think there's going to be many events on the Femtech side. But maybe, Tony, what do you attend any industry events or any conferences or anything like that?
The people we want to speak to are HR directors, HRDs. So we would work kind of across. So rather than like say using Femtech, we would like to speak to the HRDs in Femtech, but also the HRDs in aviation, sure. HRDs in law. So we would cut through.
Okay, so in terms of events where those sorts of people are going to turn up, we can do a search here. So it could be Agile HR in 2023, free online webinar. So this is basically a company, probably a HR specialist. They've put on this event, and basically they've paid probably, I reckon they've paid over $1,000 to put this event on, probably a lot more. So their marketing budget has all been spent up. But what you can do now is scrape all their delegates. It's fantastic. So potentially those HR people are going to be interested in this event. That's where we'll find them. So all we need to do is click on the event and register for the event. Because it's a free online event, there's no commitment with LinkedIn events. And that's the biggest thing with it. So if you ever host your own LinkedIn events, you'll see a big number here, but only probably 10% will actually turn up. So they'll probably be lucky if they get 420 to this event, but they might do better. So once you click attend, as soon as you click that attend button, that then opens up the list of all the delegates to you. So you can now see all of these people here, 4,200 people, all say they're interested in this thing. HR recruitment, group HR director, head of human resources at Tony and Guy. It's a kind of hair thing, isn't it, Tony and Guy? HR for digital at BT. So these are kind of top-notch people involved in HR have flagged up going to this event. Again, the process is very, very similar. We can send a message to all these people based on the fact that we're both attending this event. So it's called an event message. So you can basically message them and say, hey, I noticed you're also attending this event on Agile HR. Could we connect? Could we start the relationship? Whatever you want, blah, blah, blah. LinkedIn's all about adding value. So you need to think about how you can add value to other people in all your conversations. That's one of the key things. And we pick up that kind of later on in the series, where we look at strategies for kind of putting content out there and putting invites out there, where you give value back to your relationships. That's really good. So people will want to connect with you because they can see the value there. So that's another strategy. So that's events using LinkedIn.
A quick question on
Any
that,
questions?
Alex. Oh, are you capped on
Go
how many of those you can send?
So in terms of connecting with people, you're still capped on the 100
Yeah.
per week. That's the connection. So if you wanted to
But
connect
for
with
the
these guys.
event messages,
Yep. So in terms of event messages, there's no
capped.
cap on the event messages,
Okay.
but you can't send them through this. So you need an automated platform like Leadith. And what we're doing in Leadith is creating an automated campaign based on that event. So basically, we create a brand new campaign. We paste in the URL of the LinkedIn event. So it looks something like, if I go back a screen, that's the event URL. So
we couldn't do it manually ourselves.
You could, but through clicking the buttons yourself, connecting, basically. Or using the magical. There are other tools out there, LinkedIn Helper, Duck Soup. Some of these other tools might be able to do it for you, and that's a great workaround. But in terms of the way we do it on the system, we would just basically create a new search event, paste in our event link, boom, and then add a message. So those 4,000 people will now get a bespoke message from me. And I can even do an AI generated message, which, would read their profile and send them some clever, witty comments back to them to start really engaging with them and building relationships. But that's, taking me off tangent there a little bit.
Sorry,
now, mindful of the time.
Yeah,
that's fine. Mindful of the time. So we've gone through a couple of strategies, kind of LinkedIn based strategies. We've looked at basic searches, group searches, event searches. We've also got another strategy, which is kind of around email marketing. So I just want to introduce a completely different tool to you. And this is Apollo. Apollo had, I don't know if you've been recently hearing the news, but they've just had round 6 of their funding for growth. So they're really kind of a really top ticket machine. So when it comes to software, this software is used for finding prospects. You can find 25 prospects per month, absolutely free on the free plan. If you pay $49, you can then probably find a lot more if you wanted to. But the idea of Apollo is it's a drip feed email marketing tool, but it's also great for finding people that are on LinkedIn, whereby you can actually use some of their advanced searches. So if I just log into my Apollo account, I'll show you what it roughly looks like. Apologies, the internet's a little bit slow. And hello to Christian, who's kind of joining us as well. So within Apollo, we've got the search for people, very similar to that LinkedIn basic search. But what it does is it unlocks a few more of these filters. So those of you that are familiar with Sales Navigator, it's kind of those sorts of searches. So we can actually search by the number of employees in the business. So that might be quite helpful for you if you're targeting a certain size business. So if I wanted just the 21 to maybe 100 employees in the business, we can be quite specific there. Location, again, we can drill down and find specific locations or specific cities. So London, for example. Normally it comes up in the drop down. There it is, London, UK. And then we can go for job titles like we could with LinkedIn. Or you can search for keywords as well. So job titles, HR director. Now, obviously you can add multiple different types of HR director, head of HR, all the different types of ones. But so what we see there is a list. We've got 278 human resources directors, all in London, of a certain size company. So I don't know, Tony, would that be useful information for you?
Yeah, that's exactly what we'd be looking for. It's the if organizations are too small, they don't tend to need our resources. They kind of tend to do it themselves. If they're too big, they often have a really great team themselves. Like BT, for example,
Right.
hundreds of BT who do it, and they're fantastic. They know what they're doing. But there's often a sweet spot in the middle for a set of organisations. And geography is important as well. It is much easier for us to have a relationship with people who are in Birmingham, West Midlands, rather than Birmingham.
Yeah.
So
there's probably a huge opportunity in Birmingham. It's a big city. So the idea here is, obviously we've got a bit more information. So we've got their personal LinkedIn profile. That link would take us to their LinkedIn profile, and then we can apply the same strategy again where we're connecting with them. And then we've also got an ability here to use one of our 25 credits a month to get their corporate email address. So this basically goes out, enriches the contact to find a verified email. And there we go. We've got their email address. So we can actually start by reaching out to them via email. The tool will do that. You can actually build out campaigns here under Engage. We've got email marketing. So I've got a bit of a campaign that I run quite a while ago now. But basically, you can add them to a campaign, and we're automating the process. This connects to your inbox, and you're pushing out, some messages on a daily basis. It just happens on autopilot. So yeah, that's another strategy to explore if you've got a bit of time on your hands. Obviously, it's a bit more of a learning curve with Apollo, but it's a data repository that's there. We've actually got that data set available to us within the Leadith tool. So sits here under prospects. We've got a prospect finder, and that's where we can use those similar sort of filters, again, identifying companies by the size of the business, any specific industries. And then once we've got a list of people, boom, we can add them straight away into a campaign. So that's kind of pretty much everything today. Happy to open up for a bit of conversation or discussion. Any big kind of takeaways maybe is always quite helpful. Just see what people found helpful from the session. Helps me to kind of gauge it. Does anyone want to kick off?
Question?
Is that Fadi with a question?
I have heard that automation with LinkedIn is against the rules and policies of LinkedIn. So what about that when using data?
So was that a question around using automation with LinkedIn?
Yeah.
And rules? Yeah. So my interpretation of it is LinkedIn have created an open API where you can tap into LinkedIn's network with software. They know it exists. They've created it and they've restricted it. They've put limitations on it. Yes, they do have a policy that states around automation and stuff like that. But why have they created this open API? They've created it for a reason. And I feel that by using that open API, using a cloud-based tool where you're connecting directly to LinkedIn, playing by their rules, as long as you're not exceeding that 100 limitation, then I don't see it as a problem. So it's kind of playing the game that they've laid out. Does that help you at all?
Okay. So is there any limit that we can send a message to the people on the
Yeah, certainly. So within from a Leadith perspective, we dedicate an IP address to your LinkedIn account, to your connection to the software. And then within the software, we've got the ability to come in here and look at daily account limits. So if we want to do 100 profile views on autopilot, we can do that. We can specify how many connection requests go out on a daily basis. We can specify how many follow-up messages. So there are limitations to, upper limits to that. I push my account quite hard, and a lot of that is driven by your SSI score. My SSI score is around about 76. I've got just a basic version of LinkedIn. Whereas if you have Sales Navigator and maybe a higher SSI score, you could probably get away with pushing a lot more. But still, regardless of that, I'm able to push out in the region of about 800 connection requests on a monthly basis, which is why I've been able to grow my network to that sort of 10K mark. If you have a look here, these are just kind of the results. So 782 connection requests in the last month, 675 follow-up messages as part of the campaigns, profile views, 2,252 profile views. So there's a lot of exposure that we're getting within these campaigns.
That's a question on the average conversion rate. So those numbers are fantastic, but then what percentage using that system? What's an average conversion rate?
So on average, I'm seeing clients achieve around about a 40% acceptance connection rate. So if they're inviting 100 people per week, that's 40 new people joining their network.
Mm-hmm. And then
there's so many variables in terms of where you want to go with the next figures. I mean, for me personally, 5% is my return on investment. So if I was to spend £100 with Leadith, I'd get, let me just do the maths. Yeah, if I was to spend £5 with Leadith, I would get £100 back in terms of new clients. So I'm seeing around about a 5% ROI personally.
Okay. And
which
obviously it
means
depends
it's very
when they
affordable.
land to you, how you convert them, doesn't it? It's all good
That's
getting
right.
them
Yeah,
to you. It's then
you've got to
you're
have
holding them.
You've got to have a proven sales process and a proven customer journey that works.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're getting the right clients and you're offering the right information and you've got a credible solution that's going to solve a problem that they've got, money's not the issue. They just want the solution. And yeah, that's kind of how it works. So it is very much depending on how you conduct your sales meetings, the systems that you have for nurturing and following up those contacts. If you've got a long-term warm-up email sequence that's going to email them every single week automatically since connecting with them, your rate of conversion is probably going to be a lot higher because you're going to be picking up on all the old ones that are kind of dropping off and bringing them back into the circle. So yeah, it's very difficult. But if you want to schedule a strategy call, Bridie, we can look at numbers in a lot more detail later on. I'll pop a link on for that in the chat. Just having a look at the chat anyway. Christian's there. That's fine. Late in the group. Has anyone else got any further questions at all?
I haven't got a question, but I've got a wow, I didn't know you could do that moment with the group search and the event search in particular. I think the event search for me is a bit of a game changer because I also go B2B into HR, but finding the person who's connected to wellness and well-being and all that sort of stuff is really hard. But if they're going to an event, then I've already got like-minded people. So that was a wow, Alex. Thank you.
Good. No, thank you, Martin. And appreciate your loyalty with being a paid up client of Leadith as well. So thank you there. So next steps, obviously in the chat, I'm just going to paste a link to my calendar. I've got a little bit of availability next week. The strategy call is 1 hour with me, and we basically just talk through some of the LinkedIn strategies we've been discussing today. It's an opportunity for you to kind of learn a little bit more, for me to demo the software solution and just see if it's a viable option for you to going forward growing your business. So it's leadith.io/strategy. And then we've also got a school community. So with the school community, it's a place where kind of a lot of my clients are hanging out at the moment. It's basically runs on the school platform, if you're familiar with the school. We've got a bit of a chat, bit of a forum going on, 92 members so far. You'll get access to all the repository of lead gen masterclasses that I've run since January. And then as a free member, you'll also get access to some training. Stage 1 is around target audience. Stage 2 is around priming your personal profile. So that's all freely available. And then kind of paid up clients get access to client drop-in sessions where they can access me 3 days a week at group for group session call. A bit of a leaderboard going on there. I don't know if you're competitive or need others to spur you on in business, but yeah, so that's the Leadith community, available at leadith.io/school. So I'll just paste the link in the chat to that one as well, so everyone's got that. It'd be great to see as many of you there as possible. But yeah, next week we're moving on to LinkedIn profiles. So really snazzing up your LinkedIn profile to make sure your target audience are going to their ears are going to prick up and listen to you. So please join us again Tuesday. Sorry again for the initial Zoom link issue this morning, delay, but yeah, that's all from me. I'm happy to stick around for 5 more minutes if anyone wants to chat. Thanks, Fadi. Good to see you.
Thanks, Alex. See you later.
Cheers, Martin. Bye, Julie.
Alex, this school account is open for non-members of LinkedIn.
I'm struggling to hear you, Fadi. Sorry.
Is it open for free? I mean, non data users?
So the actual leader software, sorry.
No, I'm asking the school, is it open for us or is it only for the members? Paid members.
I'm really struggling, Fadi, to hear you. Can you drop it in the message on chat, and then I might be able to answer.